So I'm going to London for work today, and I've just had to buy a train ticket, right? It is £63.80 for a return ticket.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the UK is getting worse by the day. Not only do we have a government that seems to be pulling a wool over our eyes, we've got the average person that is facing difficult challenges when it comes to bills, when it comes to the cost of living, just trying to live a normal and happy life. You can't do it here in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. And here's why.
Is my electric company charging me mad prices? Huh? £2,008.88 British sterling pennies, big man. Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's £167 a month.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a care and support worker, yeah. So what? I make £12.50 an hour, if that. So what? I might have to work 2 7-hour shifts to keep my fridge humming. You're wild. Nah, I can't believe this. £167 a month, yeah, should be spent on feeding, clothing and providing education for my children, not funding the electric company's holiday package. Like, are they okay out here? No.
That's true,
Can someone
man.
please explain this maths to me? Because the math ain't mathing. What? Am I lighting up Blackpool Tower? Because I'm too loud to be ignored out here.
The electricity bills are absolutely ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. My one's close to about £200 a month. There's someone in the comments called Tic Tacs. They're saying they only pay £60 a month for gas and electric. They said I'm with Octopus Energy. Been with them for nearly 5 years.
So the BBC has just been hit with a £1 billion loss because more and more people are cancelling their TV licence.
You are not allowed to send money to your loved ones anymore from December 2025. Yes, the government are bringing in anybody on universal credit or a low income that does a bank transfer over £300. The transaction is going to have a straight 24-hour freeze on it until your bank can transfer. This is a legit transaction, and this transaction can meet up to the income you're saying you're getting. Now, this is to stop.
How the hell do people on universal credit send £300 to people? Where do they get the money from?
Fraud. Because if you're on universal credits or a very low income, how are you sending £300 or more to a loved one? This could be a loved one, a spouse, a friend, a child, depending on who you are. Now, if you're under 25 claiming universal credits, that's your whole monthly money. So you're clearly up to no good. So the banks can look into everything anyway. So from December 2025, any transaction over £300 is going to have a freeze on it until the bank verifies it's legit, because you probably can't afford to send that anyway. So have fun on that one.
I mean, they're trying to do anything they can to prevent fraud, but also limit people that are already broke. The thought of this is an absolute joke. You have to be real, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that you're not able to send however much you want to send to a loved one. It could be an emergency.
Well, it looks like Uber are going out of business. Rachel Reeves has just put a 20% taxi tax on. But let's not forget that she's also put in 3p per mile on electric vehicles and 1.5 pence per mile on hybrid cars. So who do you think is going to pay that? Yes, you, the customer. So yet again,
Someone said, who's ever paid £4 for an Uber? Nick says, me the other week. Do you know how much I've got to pay for an Uber just to get to my mum's house? And my mum's house is only around the corner. It's costing me about £9.
UK is no longer designed for anyone to be happy unless you're rich. It's actually ridiculous what's happened to the country. They've run it into the ground. Take living in London, for example. I've been scrolling, I've seen people that make maybe 25k a year. They live in London. They've got a tiny box room. They've literally got a budget. You have to budget, otherwise you're just not going to survive. They've got a budget the fuck down on everything. To the point they have no life. To the point there's no social life. To the point they can't go shopping. To the point they can't even eat the food they actually want to eat. People are living on...
They're actually contemplating whether to eat the food they just bought because they might not be able to eat tomorrow. That's how dark.
Noodles. And as long as you have a government that don't give a F about the people, everyone is going to get effed. Everyone's going to get effed. As long as the cost of living is going to keep being way higher than wages, as long as that cost of living rises, and the wages stay where they're at, it's always going to be a massive, massive problem.
And it's true. This is the reason why, to a degree, you can't really call those people out that are out there stealing, especially when they're stealing from like Greggs and Sainsbury's and Tesco's. Of course, when it's people that have got addictions, it's a problem and you want to stop those guys. But when you see like an innocent, hardworking mother who can't feed her children pocket something in her bag, it's kind of like, do you really want to stop her? Do you really want to tell her don't do that? Because at the end of the day, the supermarkets ain't making it any easier because they're inflating their prices. And of course, the government are definitely not making it any easier.
I think it's still a thing where it's like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I feel like that's very dangerous for the future.
I mean, unemployment is a huge issue. I think something like 45% of people who became unemployed last year were under 25.
I do have a part-time job, but again, it took a long time to get. And I think amongst young people, job insecurity is such a huge issue. Young people do want to work, so it's just about giving them the opportunity to work and providing them with the relevant support to do so.
Another argument that's been made by the Conservatives and by Reform as well is that a lot of young people are out of work at the moment because they've got minor
mental with this cameraman, bruv. That the
health
camera's
issues like anxiety. First of all, do you
using a body cam or something?
recognise that lots of people, younger people, do suffer with anxiety? And the argument is that if they go back to work, that would help with their anxiety.
It's much more nuanced than just saying, mental health is bad because the job market is bad. I think it's much more complicated than that, and I would worry if that was the sort of narrative that was being taken over. I have noticed an increase, and I think everyone's noticed an increase in young people at least reporting mental health issues. But again, I'm not overly surprised if we consider the environment that young people have sort of grown up in.
Is it that younger people might be softer than older people, or is it that nowadays people are actually much more comfortable to talk about their mental health?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
I think it's more complicated again. I think it's not one or the other. I think some people know more about mental health and know more about symptoms. That's definitely a factor. But then again, I also think having a whole generation of people that have grown up online, that's a huge thing. Grown up without youth services, so coming together in person less, and going into a job market that is on its knees. All of these things, of course, build into poor mental health.
I mean, it sounds like the employment world is extremely challenging right now. Prior to me running my last business, this lady is actually right. I was giving out CVs, couldn't get a job, and then I knew someone who was looking for someone, and I got the job that way. And then I was only with them for about 3 months, and I thought, fuck this, I'm setting up my own business. And that's where we're at now, ladies and gentlemen. Young people under the age of 25 would prefer to set up their own business, do something that allows them to have the time and freedom and flexibility to do what they want, as well as earn as much money as they want.
My husband is on what you would consider to be definitely a good salary, which is $77,000 a year. That's a take home of $3,400 a month, which again sounds good on paper, but our rent is $2,000 a month.
And do you know what? This is where it all falls down, isn't it? The cost of housing is eating into people's earnings.
It's an absolute piss take, and the government know it. They have purposely done it. That was the first thing they inflated because they knew every single person needs a roof over their head. It was purposely done, and it's never going to go back to what it used to be. You're never going to be able to find yourself a one-bedroom flat with a front and back garden for 120 quid a week, because it was like that back in the day. And when we say back in the day, you could even find those type of properties on the council probably about 10 to 15 years ago. Even now, properties on the council have doubled. You're not finding £150 one-bedroom flats a week anymore. You're finding £300 a week one-bedroom flats on the council. See, me personally, I rent private. I don't even know what it's like to be on the council. I was given an opportunity when I was about 15, 16, went into a hostel, was in that hostel for about 3 years. In the last year of me being there, I decided not to pay the rent. Myself in rent arrears and got kicked out. I was about 19, 20 max. And after 20, I left that hostel and I never looked back. Never had a council property since then. Always rented private. But the housing landscape in the UK is extremely ridiculous. And no one that goes out there and works 12 hours a day can really afford to pay the amount of rent that they're asking us to pay, especially here in London.
Easy way.
Yeah. And we would never be able to afford to buy because we can't afford to save. We don't have any family that can give us any money. So we are stuck in the renting trap. With it being £2,000 a month, that is obviously most of our income gone straight away. I'm off work at the moment because we have 4 children. I've got a young baby. Because my husband earns 77,000, he earns above 60,000. We cannot claim a single penny of child benefit.
And is it still true that if you earned a combined 100 grand, you could still get support?
100%, yeah. So if I, for example, went to work and brought home a salary of 50,000 and my husband earned 50,000, because we were both below 60,000, we would then be able to claim child benefit, which means that some people on 100k are claiming it, but we can't. I understand the argument of only have children if you can afford them, but I feel like we're being penalised for having a large family and earning a good wage, and we just can't make ends meet at the end of the month. My husband is on...
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dad's out there earning 77k a year. He's working hard. However, mum's got to stay at home because she's got a family to raise. So how do they expect mum to go out and work and near enough match the salary that her partner's getting in order for them to get some type of help? It just makes it more difficult. It makes it more challenging. You're splitting up families. You know, that's what they're doing. They're splitting up families. You're making a mum go out there and work, spending less time with her children, spending less time to socially bond with her children. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Billionaires out here, millionaires out here, and they're not even paying taxes. Look at Prince Andrew as an example. He's out there spending tax money on prostitutes, bruv. And it's not even like it's little man money. Man done millions on prostitutes, bro. Taxpayers' money. Come on, man. I mean, there's a few videos right there proving that the UK is just getting worse. The schooling system, the financial system, the employment system, everything here in the UK is just falling into the mud. And Keir Starmer doesn't have the answers to any questions that anyone has. The only answers they seem to have at this moment in time is fraudulence at its finest. All we know is 2026 is going to be the year of digital ID. Cheers.